No, get away from the edge.
Elizabeth, I'm gonna fake my own death. Dead artists make tons more money than living ones. Tons more money! Tell the media you saw me looking sorrowful by a precipice. Here's my obituary.
Obituary? What is this? Adriana, the artistic genius, strikes gold after death. As years of Adriana's passing spread, her paintings became hot commodities sought after by art collectors, investors, and even extraterrestrial beings. Rumor has it her paintings are a hit on Mars. Adriana, this is ridiculous. And what will happen? What will happen when you paint new work?
Reincarnation.
Adriana, take that stuff off. We have work to do.
But let me take a sad selfie first. It could go viral.
Do you want me to save you or call the media first? Hi, welcome to Art Adventures. I'm Elizabeth Whelan.
And I'm Adriana Eftimie, and today we're talking about valuing art. Art is not necessary for basic living, so why is art valuable to society?
Humans have always had art in their lives. It's a basic factor of our existence that humans create relentlessly. Although it's not all million-dollar paintings in gold frames. Designs on pottery, paintings in caves, sculptures and statues of all kinds, decorated weaponry. Archaeologists turn up treasures all the time that fall within the realm of art. Mosaics, carvings, coins, jewelry, all are forms of art and design, including paintings. And in our modern life, we're surrounded with art. Illustrations on the cereal box, symbols on road signs, designs on t-shirts, icons on our apps. This is all art. We see so much art daily that we've become a little desensitized to how much visual representation plays a part in our lives. Art can be functional, it can tell stories. It's amazing shorthand for encapsulating useful information and providing us with imagery, realistic, abstract, that connects us to our past and our present. And in recent history, its ability to be a vehicle for the movement of massive amounts of currency really is unprecedented. This is German-American artist Emanuel Lutz's enormous canvas, Washington Crossing the Delaware. It's a powerful painting, and it's imaginatively depicting a pivotal moment in U.S. history. During the American Revolution, George Washington decided to stage a sneak attack on a Hessian camp on Christmas Day. And before this attack, many thought that the American cause was about to die out. So here is a painting that represents a very basic idea of heroism associated with a nascent United States, an imaginary moment in a historical event, and to look back on with pride. Adriana is going for coffee right now. Obviously, this painting has cultural as well as artistic importance. Come on back here and listen to this.
Oh, Elizabeth, are you still here?
Art also plays a crucial role in preserving intangible heritage, and that's like traditional crafts and folk tales and oral traditions, that kind of thing. Oh, there she goes again. Come back here, Adriana. All right, so that is a little bit of the value of art in our society. All of that makes art sound pretty important. But who determines the monetary value of art?
First of all, great Christmas painting. Now, where should we start? There are many elements to consider when the price of an artwork is determined. We must remember the art market is not regulated. There are no hard rules to follow. The U.S. Treasury Department released a study in 2022 concluding that government intervention in the art market is not a current priority. And
That's interesting.
It doesn't seem like it will be anytime soon because they have more important issues on the list other than money laundering. So the art market is somehow self-regulated. It's like trusting a child to eat only one candy from the big candy bowl when no one else is in the room.
Yeah.
And as we know, not all children behave. Most people will agree the art is subjective. So how do you put a price on it when each person reacts to the same artwork in their own unique ways? I'm going to show you 3 artworks and leave it to you to guess the price. First, how much do you think this one is worth? Did you guess? This painting is by Maxfield Parrish, titled Lantern Bearers, painted in 1906, sold for $4.2 million. It also happens to be one of my favorite paintings. What about this one? How much for this one? Now, this painting is by Paul Gauguin, completed in 1892, and it was sold for $300 million in 2015. The name of Paul Gauguin definitely carries a lot of monetary value. And now, the last example. What do you think? How much is this one? This painting by Paul Cézanne was sold for $693,000. Were you close enough to that price? Were you, Elizabeth?
No, actually, I was way off on all of them. That's really interesting.
Now, Cézanne's prices vary from $14 to $137 million.
Wow.
It can be a little hard to guess when the range is so wide. These paintings are examples of transactions at the very top of the art market, but most of the artworks sell for a lot less. Everything starts when the artwork enters the primary market for the first time. Artists who are early in their careers price their artwork at a lower range, while mid-career and established artists with strong portfolio, exhibition history, and awards often command higher prices. Artworks that demonstrate mastery of technique and innovative approaches may be perceived more valuable. The medium, materials, and physical size are a big factor too. Then we have art galleries and dealers who have expertise in the art market, knowledge of current trends, and access to potential buyers. So they work closely with the artists to determine the appropriate prices for their artworks. Here, the artwork is already in the secondary market, where the artist doesn't have as much control over the price as in the primary market. Auction houses have a significant impact, as we've seen in the last episode, especially for the high-profile artworks. Big auction houses are predominantly participants in the secondary art market. The prices achieved at auction can influence the perceived value of an artist's work and impact future sales. Now, professional appraisers and valuers with expertise can determine the value of artworks based on the artist's reputation, the artwork's condition, provenance, market demand, and recent sales of comparable artworks. Elizabeth, are you still here? Are you still with me?
I believe so.
I have more.
Well, you went for a coffee, maybe I'll go for a coffee.
Collectors and investors also have a big impact through their purchasing decisions. The demand for specific artists and styles can drive up the prices. Then we have the forces of the art market in play, which include trends, the popularity of specific artistic styles and movements. Historical significance of an artist's work within a particular movement can also impact its value. Now, this painting by Mary Cassatt, called Little Girl in a Blue Armchair, has a pretty high monetary value, but the reason for that is quite surprising. This painting stands as a statement to the newly formed relationship between Cassatt and the Impressionist painters in the late 1800s. Cassatt actually reworked the painting with the help of her friend Edgar Degas, who advised her and even added a few brushstrokes himself.
Oh my goodness, I wonder which one.
So, Elizabeth, what's your opinion about the pricing?
Yeah, that's really so difficult. We try to quantify how pricing should work, but that doesn't explain why some really horrible stuff goes for millions. I mean, isn't that really the basic question? Van Gogh only sold one painting in his life. Rembrandt died a pauper. I know that there's more to all of those stories, but trends account for some of this. It can be difficult for an artist if they bow to trends, but if they don't, the market can really pass them by. It takes a combination of opportunity, good fortune, and talent and business skill on top of artistic ability to command your own market.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes you can even fake your own debt to get higher prices. Keep that in mind.
Not recommended.
Nowadays, you can build your entire art business online without the help of galleries and set your own prices according to how much demand is for your artwork. Of course, this involves being a jack of all trades rather than just the artist. Elizabeth, can you give me examples of artwork that has become so iconic that it transcends the price?
It is amazing to think that there are artworks out there that we do consider priceless for reasons that are a little bit intangible. And one of them is this one right here, American Gothic by artist Grant Wood. He was a master artist of the 20th century, and he created this particular painting in 1930 and sold it right away to the Art Institute of Chicago in November of the same year. The thing that I love about this is that is actually his sister and their dentist who were there as models. And to me, that just makes it kind of funny, because now when I see her looking at him, I'm thinking, oh, you didn't fix that cavity properly or something else. But I think the reason this image really speaks to people, one of the American narratives is the hard scrabble farmer and the life of work and frugality. And I think that has always appealed, just sort of across the market. Here are 3 other paintings that you will probably recognize. Starry Night by Van Gogh, Hokusai's Wave, Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. These are artworks that are so part of our culture now that we don't even really think of them as being separated from. And these are in museums also. When a painting is in a museum and not out on the market, we can't really ascribe a dollar value to it except for what was the price that it was originally purchased for. But then there are artists whose work exemplifies the commercial aspect of the market rather than collective aesthetics. So that would be people like Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst. So these artists, they've gone after the commercial aspect of the market whole hog and very successfully. It seems to me that this work is admired more for its ability to generate enormous profits rather than the aesthetics. Jeff Koons is a contemporary artist, and he's known for his large-scale sculptures and kind of kitsch aesthetic. Jeff Koons has garnered attention and high prices for his works, such as a particular work called Balloon Dog Orange. It sold for $58 million, one of the most expensive artworks by a living artist at that time. And it's literally a sculpture of a toy dog made out of balloons that you might see at a kid's birthday party. It's made of polished steel with shiny orange coating, and it's about 10 feet high.
Well, that's amazing how Jeff Koons can appeal to such a large public, right? Because everyone is familiar with the balloons that you make so many animals.
Yeah, or flowers or whatever.
Flowers. Everyone is familiar with that, even in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, everywhere. Yeah. So he appeals to a very, very big market. He really put something innovative in the market that everyone can appreciate because they are familiar with. That is really good marketing.
It's excellent marketing. And I don't dislike the sculpture either. It's just an extremely interesting phenomenon. These tulips, which we're showing here, are a similar sort of sculpture, finished off the same way with the polished metal and the whatever the spray painted finish. This grouping sold in 2012 for $30 million. Yeah. I mean, that's really good work for a living artist. So will future generations venerate the balloon dog sculptures and the balloon tulips, though? Only time will tell. I really wanted to add in the concept that our society is geared towards valuing rarity, scarcity. We want to be the only person who owns something. To a certain extent, the quality of the item does matter, but the artistic value of the item does not if it's sufficiently rare, and the marketing around it has equated status with ownership. It's a short hop from there to an eyebrow-raising price. But the reward for the new owner of the work is that regardless of the artistic value, and it might have artistic value, the item allows entree into the realms of those who can purchase such items, separated from those who can't. Never mind that some of those who can't would also not bother even if they had the cash. Artwork does go for eye-watering sums at art auctions. Is that art really worth millions?
Well, the market dictates the price. The value of an artwork is ultimately determined by what someone is willing to pay for it. Yeah. So if an artwork sells for a high price, it means that there were buyers willing to pay that price for it at that particular moment in time. However, this does not necessarily mean the artwork will reach the same price in future transactions. The price can fluctuate drastically. In some cases, artworks may sell for high prices due to hype, speculation, or other market factors, rather than because of their inherent artistic value. So as long as someone agrees to pay a certain amount of money for that artwork, that is how much it's worth in that moment in time. That is the real value. For other people watching from the outside, the reaction can be completely different. Maybe for them, the same painting is not even worth $10. And that's the intrinsic value of art, a highly subjective emotional value connected to how a specific work of art makes the viewer feel. Elizabeth, can you tell me why some artists have prices that show dramatic differences from one work to another?
Yeah, absolutely. Price doesn't necessarily reflect artistic quality, as I think we have made the point very clearly. But there are some trends that can contribute to a wide range of price within one artist's work. And the value associated with artwork will ebb and flow during and after an artist's lifetime, regardless of the work's value now. So here are two Van Gogh paintings. And I'm using Van Gogh because we've looked at a lot of his other work. And these are both from the same auction. And so let's guess what these went for. So I'll let you think about that one. In a notable auction held in Sotheby's in May of 1990, so that was a little while ago, these were sold at vastly different prices. The portrait, which is Portrait du Docteur Gachet, fetched a staggering price. It was $82.5 million. It set a record at the time for a painting sold at auction. And the second Van Gogh, sold not much later, Paysage sous un ciel mouvementé, beautiful landscape, sold for $1.98 million in the same auction. So while that's still a substantial amount, it really is quite a difference. It reflects the varying level of desirability, rarity, market demand. And the rarity part is because there are simply fewer portraits by Van Gogh and a heck of a lot more landscapes. So as beautiful as the landscape is, there's all kinds of different demand associated with the same artist. We should take into account the type of price being estimated before the auction, perhaps, and look at the percentage of difference between the estimate and the realized price. We go on and on about these crazy big prices because it's sort of fun to talk about the millions. But sometimes what you're really talking about is a work has already been estimated at this or that price before it goes into auction. And then what the realized price is some percentage of that. And sometimes it's a lot more. And sometimes it's right there in the mix. So these two paintings by Monet sold at the same auction. They were painted in 1866. This beautiful boat scene went for 32% above mid-auction estimate. And the winter scene went for 6% above the mid-estimate. So these examples, they demonstrate different factors. It could be the importance, perhaps the seascape is just thought of as more important. Perhaps people just like them better. Pictures of boats perhaps sell better than pictures of winter scenes. That's where the subjective nature came. Both of these paintings were sold within whatever the estimate or value was that somebody thought of. What do you think about the price disparity?
Now, that's what makes the art world so beautiful, unique, and infuriating at the same time. The market wants what the market wants. And there are good examples of how paintings by the same artist can be valued so differently. Of course, the marketing and context of the painting, the moment in time it was sold, make a big difference in selling these artworks at those prices. Yeah. But we'll talk more about the marketing in the next episode.
Well, were there any artworks that were sort of rediscovered and bounced in value?
Sometimes valuable artworks can be overlooked or mistakenly undervalued for years. This painting by Gustav Klimt, titled Portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer II, was...
I love this. What? I just love this painting.
You do? Do you love the first one or the second one?
Both.
So this painting was previously considered a lesser work by Klimt, and it was overshadowed by his most famous portrait, Portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer I. Adele Bloch-Bauer was the only person whose portrait was painted twice by Klimt. At a closer examination, or what Elizabeth likes to call recalibration, the artwork received much more interest, and with a really good marketing was offered for sale at auction in 2005, reaching $88 million. Wow. The buyer was none other than Oprah Winfrey.
Really?
Who later sold it for $150 million.
Wow.
Good investment.
Yes, very well done, Oprah.
What about popular opinion? How does that compare to the pricing by art experts?
Well, that's a great opportunity for us to have a little fun. So we want you to be involved in some of this because art opinion really is subjective. Let's have a bit of fun thinking about two groups of 3 artworks I'm going to show you. They're by North American artists. None of them are living, and I'm not going to tell who painted each one until afterwards. Let's say you went into a junk shop and in the corner, to your amazement, you discovered these paintings. So you thought to yourself, those look pretty good. I think that there may be some value here, but it's hard to tell. I don't know anything about these paintings. They each have the same price on them and I can only buy one. Which one am I going to have? So if you had no idea who the artist was or how much the monetary value was, which of these three would you buy? So I'm just going to show you each one at a time. They were all painted in about the same time period, and within about 20 years from each other. They're all part of what they call the Hudson River School, which was an aesthetic vision influenced by Romanticism, as you can tell, which has been in and out of fashion ever since. So let's have a closer look at each one of these paintings. I'm sure by now you've decided which one you like the best. So the first one is by Jose Maria Velasco. It was painted in 1863, and he was a famous Mexican landscape artist. So not many people realize that this particular sort of school of painting and this type of painting was popular not just in the New York Hudson River area. So this next one is by Robert Scott Duncanson. And Duncanson was an African-American artist who painted this painting in 1869 and likewise worked in that same Hudson River School style. And then this last one is by Asher Durand, and he painted this in 1854. A little bit earlier, he was one of the earlier members of the Hudson River School. But you can see the similarity, but painted by people from very different areas and circumstances, all sharing this same kind of aesthetic view. So if you aren't really somebody who's keen on the Hudson River School, here are three more. Let's have a look at these three paintings. We have this lovely farm scene, and now we have this beautiful garden. And now we have something a little bit more atmospheric looking, a little bit more contemporary looking. These paintings are this first one is by Winslow Homer. And the second one is by a California landscape artist named Lucy Bacon. She painted this about 1895. Winslow Homer painted his about 1874.
I'll take the bacon.
And then Emily Carr. I would take the Emily Carr. This one was painted about 1930, and she was a Canadian painter up in the British Columbia area. So these three artists are often viewed as regional painters. Winslow Homer is associated with the Northeast, Lucy Bacon with California, Emily Carr with Canada, and particularly the Pacific Northwest. But they achieved recognition on the national stage, and each one of these paintings are also in museums. So I can't tell you how much they're worth.
Why did you send them to the thrift store, Elizabeth? They're so important.
Well, when it comes down to it, buying what appeals to you is really the most important approach. It can be extra delightful if the artwork gains in value, but the most important thing is that you love the artwork for whatever reason. I really think that even if you are an investor, a collector at the top of the market, you want to be able to love that work when you look at it. And there's a lot of artwork out there to love.
True. Ideally, there will be no investors, just collectors for the love of the art.
Well, they can invest if they're somehow, if I'm benefiting. This is what I think gripes a lot of contemporary artists, is that the secondary market is really divorced in pricing from the primary market. And I think that if more of us if there was trickle down from the secondary market, you probably would hear an awful lot less griping.
Can artwork by a no artist be valuable?
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I think they can. I think they can possess immense value. Discovering a hidden gem, a masterpiece tucked away. I mean, it takes a lot of us to flea markets looking at the back of paintings and such. Artistic value is certainly not solely reliant on the artist's name. I think value is found also in the mastery of technique, its impact on viewers, just how you respond to the art itself. If you respond a certain way and think, wow, this is really something, people should see it, it's very likely others will think the same way. And an artist's obscurity doesn't diminish the potential value of their work. I would just hope that if that ever happened to me, that I would be alive to reap the rewards. No falling off cliffs.
Dream big.
I am dreaming big.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe you'll be the first one who discovers this great artist that in 10 years is gonna explode in price.
Yeah.
You never know.
I've certainly, seen artwork out there that I've purchased myself where I was like, there's something to that. That artist really has something there. And even if that artwork doesn't ever realize a particular price in my lifetime, I feel like, well, at least I'm a steward of this art. It might go on and live another life. You just never know. Rather than storing it in the attic, I hang it proudly on my wall.
Nice.
It struck me as we were doing the research for this show, in some ways the dollar has become the art, and the art has become the vehicle for moving the dollars around. It's less about what's within the frame, the quality or the subject of the sculpture or painting, and it's a weird and interesting sideshow to the actual making of art, which is what Adriana and I do. We will continue to watch and see what happens in the art market.
For more information about today's theme, Valuing Art, you can go to our website, artadventures-tv.com, where you find links. You'll have the artwork that we talked about today, book and movies recommendations, and so on.
And join us next week when we're going to talk about myth and marketing. What is this business about artists supposedly having to be starving? Who started that anyway? Join us next week and find out.
Oh, it will be interesting. Bye.
Bye till next week.
So much easier in the studio.
Okay.
Everything hurts here. Call the media first.
We have work to do.
What work?
Fly like an eagle.
Reincarnation. They make lots more money than living ones. Am I pretty? It's so bad. Here's my. But how are they going to know I'm tripping? So many logistics, and I'm getting closer and closer to the edge.
I'm really worried about you.
But you'll save me, remember?